Girls, what was the most obvious hint you dropped, and the guy just didn't get it? We were playing life and he was a police officer. The rule is, if you spin a 10, he gets your speeding fines. I literally pulled open my button down and exposed my breasts and said, what can I do to get out of paying this? He said, Mom, I am an officer of the law. Are you trying to prostitute yourself to me? A couple days of flirting and sexual innuendo later, I literally had to spell out that I was trying to frick him. We've been together 6 years now. Yo, that dude is serious about his role playing. I'm the guy in this situation, but I couldn't help not sharing this story. In college, this girl I was really into asked if I wanted to hang out at my dorm and drink and watch Netflix. She came over and we were watching and drinking on the couch in the living room. Per my suggestion. Things are going good, and about an hour into it she says, ooh, lem see your room. So we go to my room. She takes her shoes and socks off and immediately sprawls herself out on my bed and says, oh my god, your bed is so comfortable. I responded with, we live in the same building. It's the same bed as yours. She left about 10 minutes later. Oh my freaking god, dude, lol. Honestly, I think I reacted in a similar way. He told me my hair looked nice. I said, bet it would look nicer with your hands in it. He said, in a very confused tone, you want me to style your hair? This one is great. At least he managed to say he was clueless. We were talking about canoes and I said I'm like a canoe because I'm wet and you can go inside me, and he said canoes aren't really wet. When my boyfriend and I had just started dating, we were laying down watching a movie, but this was a small bed and he was being respectful and giving me space. I kept wiggling backwards so I could get closer to him and he kept inching backwards too. Since he thought I was just trying to get comfortable and he was in the way, he ended up sitting in a chair next to the bed. 3 years later we are still together, and I still think it's pretty funny. He told me that when he was in the chair he purposefully left his hand next to me in case I wanted to hold it, but I guess I missed that sign too. He didn't get out of the bed because he was uncomfortable. He truly thought he was taking up too much space and didn't realize I was trying to cuddle. This one made me laugh out loud. Imagining him scooting all the way off the bed just to give you space is so sweet. LOL. A couple of weeks ago, to my boyfriend of 3 years, me, undresses and lays naked on the couch, waiting to bone him, makes dumb joke, ooh you're naked, that's so weird, me, dies a little bit inside. After chatting for hours on top of a mountain from sunset until like 2 AM, sharing a blanket, me leaning my head on his shoulder, telling him he's attractive, etc. He turns to me and says, how do you tell if a girl is into you? He suspected that you were hinting and gave you a way to confirm or deny. Good move on his part. Reading these posts has gotten me even more confused. I am a guy in my 30s. Basically 70% of the top replies has happened to me a lot, except the super obvious ones where the girl is making a physical move. Hugs, kiss. But the couple of times I've actually made the move, nope, they just want to be friend. FML I guess. And this is why we ignore all those hints. I'm a guy, but I once had an experience where I took the hint but still got rejected. A girl had asked me if I lost my virginity yet. We were in high school. When I said I hadn't, she said that I could practice on her whenever I want. Mind you, we walking home after school because we lived close. I try to act on this hint when we get to her house and she said she was only joking and doesn't want it to be weird with us as friends. Before we started dating, I told my current boyfriend I love you and he said, oh I love you too, you're such a good friend. The whole time we thought we were both friend zoning each other. Wasted half a year going in circles SMH. I guess it does get a little tricky being a guy, cause I would never want to make a girl feel uncomfortable, or that I'm forcing her into something. It kinda makes friendly gestures and hints sound real similar. It's best to be friendly. Guy here, was invited back to study by one of the girls in my class at her apartment. We're about half HR in and she says she might take a shower. I'm like okay, kinda random, but okay. Anyway, she starts telling me the door to the shower is broken so don't come in. Says it 3 or 4 more times. Again, I'm like okay, weird she's said that multiple times, but okay. HR later the shower is still running. I can hear her singing and humming away so I know she's okay and hasn't drowned. Thinking gee that's a long shower though. Water goes off and she comes out dressed and says you didn't come in? I'm confused as I'm like WTF she told me not to. She sits back down, clearly distracted and not wanting to study. We wrap up after 5 minutes. Drive home. Mate asks me how study was about a week later and the situation, which I hadn't given a single brain cell of thought to since. I explain to him. As I'm saying it out loud the penny drops as to what a big fuckhead I am. She's the idiot, not you. She literally told you not to come in. It's entirely reasonable not to come in. So answering in lieu of my late wife here I, husband, am dumb. Like, really dumb. She and I met and became friends very quickly, but I didn't know she apparently had a huge crush on me. I thought she was out of my league, and apparently she thought I was out of her league too. But she couldn't stop the feels. She rubbed her feet on me while we were talking, asked me in detail about my package, gave me her phone number with the line hit me up if you want pizza and sex. We went out for lunch. She offered to fillet me for a Dr. Pepper, and she was very insistent that we got meat lovers pizza when I asked her what she wanted for watching a movie later. After we watched the movie, she was in my bed. I figured she was just wanting to keep warm and cuddle, but she strutted into my bathroom stark naked and I had some DDs staring at me. She kissed me and told me I want you to frick me, you idiot. A regular romance story there. In my defense, she had a really warped sense of humor and I thought she was kidding with all that stuff. It felt so natural with us being friends that the thought didn't even cross my mind until she propositioned me that there was potential for more. I'd had some really fricked up exes and I thought romance was something where I had to jump through hoops for the other person and wait on them hand on foot. But she was different. That's why she was the one who I got on one knee for. Advice to the ladies out there. If my wife telling me I want you to frick me got through my legendarily thick skull, I think as a last resort that'll get through to anybody. This was really sweet, and I hope you're doing okay. I asked a guy on a festival to come take a shower with me. He didn't get it. He just repeated there was only one free shower and I was like well they are big I'm sure it's fine and he just looked confused and told me I could go first. We became close friends since that happened about 2 years ago and this summer I spoke to him about it and he really had no idea. He did the biggest facepalm I've ever seen. Before my boyfriend asked me out, he kept hinting at the fact that we were both single and everyone though we would be cute together. I was like haha, yeah, not realizing he was trying to ask me out. I'm not as brutally upfront as some of these people but mine happened yesterday. How do I know a girl is flirting with me he asks. She touches you a lot while you two are talking. I cannot relate at all. That never happens to me. I'm sure it does I tell him and hit his arm. I can't think of any time that's ever happened. For Valentine's a couple of years ago, I mailed my husband a package. The note said, and I quote, I want you now. I was ready to spring into some extra fun sexy time whenever he opened the package. I had to sit him down and explain a couple of hours later. He was like oh. Yeah, my wife's learned to just holler come to bed now otherwise I'm a dumbass that doesn't get it. On our first date, my current boyfriend and I went out to dinner, to a bar, and eventually back to his house to watch scary movies. After hanging out for almost 8 hours at that point, practically cuddling into him the entire time we were watching movies, dropping as many hints as I could, around 3 AM when we were both fighting to stay awake, I finally had to look his dumb ass in the eye and ask, so are you going to kiss me or not? Though he was totally oblivious, it did show his good heart. He was about to let me fall asleep on his couch and spend the night without even trying to kiss me. I knew he was a keeper after that. When I was about 35, I lived in a beach town near a university. My neighbors were all college kids. Next door was 2 college girls. One was always flirting with me. One hit summer day, she turned up at my door in nothing but a long t-shirt. She asked if she could hang out in the account. I said sure and she came over to the sofa I was sitting long ways on and laid with her back to my chest and asked if we could snuggle. I was okay with that. She then asked me to rub her belly, which I did. As you can imagine, after about an hour, I was getting a little worked up and touched her breast. While rubbing her belly, she jumped up and stormed out. I was like WTF. She later said she didn't see me like that. I asked her why she'd show up almost naked. lay between my legs like couples do and ask me to rub her belly and then get pee when I try to progress things. She said she looks at me like a big brother. I was like, WTF is your family like? And that is why so many guys in this thread didn't get the hints. It isn't a universal thing. I had a girl invite me round her house once just to show me her posters. They were all of Harley Davidson motorbikes, and she said she's never ridden a Harley before. Awkward silence, and after a few other bits of small talk I decided to be on my way. 2 years later I'm sitting on the bus and realize what she meant. Harley. Ridden a Harley. My name is Holly. Dang, I feel so bad for her. That's a perfect line too. One time a girl straight up asked if I wanted to take my pants off and I didn't get it. I was like, nah, they're actually not uncomfortable at all. Usually when girls ask you to take off your pants, it's for their comfort. No one wants to come in contact with the kind of tough fabric a lot of pants are made of when they're sleeping. Also, always take off your belt. That's just cruel to accidentally poke someone with your belt buckle. Literally said I want to be yours and the dude just keeps smiling and goes on about random space facts. That one hurt a bit. I am a guy, but I can share my identity as the guy that missed the hints. I went to a store where there was a girl I liked in college. We used to small talk while I browsed and never bought anything. Bring a poor college student. This time I came in the store and she said and we chatted a bit while I shopped. She complained, I'm going to be home alone tonight. My family is out of town. I replied, oh that's too bad. She says, I'm off at 5 today. It was 4 at the time. What are you up tonight? I'm up for anything. Oh nothing. Just sitting at home and watching a movie. My brain must have completely self-destructed because the conversation ended there. I never saw her again after that. She either quit or was avoiding me. I must have been in a daze from school to miss that cue. School does that to me too. Plus the fact that I'm shy and therefore believe I never get attention adds to the oblivious bliss. We were discussing costumes and I sent a picture of me in my bunny suit and said I'd need help out of it. His response was telling me he hoped my roommate was home or that would suck. I had to tell him I was implying I'd like him to take it off me and it took him a minute to catch up. Invited him over to watch a movie, eventually laying my legs across his lap and hard flirting, but after 4 movies I had to finally make the move. I once was modeling clothes I planned to take on vacation for my boyfriend. After showing off a couple of outfits, I told him to close his eyes and changed into lingerie. He opened his eyes and I asked him what he thought. His jaw dropped and he said, "You can't wear that outside." I put my clothes back on. Not a girl, but I was staying a night at a hotel, and the hotel bar had just closed. I went out front for a smoke and start chatting with 2 women. We shoot the crap for a few minutes and then all head back into the hotel and to the elevator. We get in, they press 15, I press 9, and one of them turns to me and says, "I don't suppose there's a secret bar on the 9th floor we can go to?" My dumb butt responds, "No, but you can grab a cab and be at a bar in 10 minutes." Then the doors open and I leave. He invited me to his house to watch a movie after a few dates. He ended up playing League of Legends for hours while I was laying in his bed and asked him many times if he would like to join. Sorry, just one more match. We dated for 2 years. We matched on Bumble, dating app that the girl has to talk first, and I started a convo with him. He thought I just matched him because we were friends. No, it's a dating app. We didn't start dating until almost a year after that. We are married now. What girls don't realize is that guys have to ride an incredibly thin line between being a dog and being a gentleman. Girls want a guy who won't paw at them the whole courtship, but who will recognize little hints and make the first move. It's an incredibly nerve-wracking position to be in. My advice to girls would be, don't drop hints, say what you mean. As a guy, to any girls reading this, you have no idea how easy it is to miss hints. Please be more obvious. We are also really bad at being scared of taking signals wrong. I'd hazard to guess most clueless men are actually trying to not be a dong because they don't want to lose a friend, be seen as a creep, or end up in prison. I went out of my way to come in early and talk to this guy every day for like a month before someone else told him I was into him. I also repeatedly told him I liked him. He thought I was just being nice. When a girl admits to liking you, a guy faces a dilemma. 1. You could be joking and pulling his leg. 2. You just sympathize for him. Or you like him as a friend and that's it. A girl came to my house once and spent the night. Around the time for bed, she told me she doesn't sleep with a top on or panties. I told her that's okay, I'll sleep on the couch so she can be comfy. She called me from downstairs later that night and told me she couldn't sleep and she was cold. I figured, well, obviously, you're naked, so I gave her another blanket and went back downstairs. Dang, I hope she wasn't hot. A guy I'm currently seeing invited me camping earlier this month. We were cuddling and I noted how nice the showers are in the bathroom at the provincial park. I said they're really warm and lots of space for 2 people, trying to hint for him to join me for sexy time. This man, without missing a beat, says actually, you could fit like 10 people in those showers. We laughed about it really hard the next weekend and he said I knew what you were getting at but my brain just wanted to answer it logically. I like that guy. I used to be oblivious, probably still am. There was a girl at a local grocery store who was flirting with me, but of course, I didn't get it. After quite a bit of this, I leave town for a few months and we're corresponding via email. I can't remember why, but I was asking her a string of silly questions, like, why is the sky blue? Chicken or the egg first? Where do babies come from? Etc. She answered them all, saving where do babies come from for last and answered it with, when you get back I'm going to show you. I got that one. My buddy in college was stressing over when to make the move to kiss a girl he liked. While we encouraged him to not wait for the perfect moment and just go for it, he admitted he should have tried to kiss her when they were in the shower. If this is the truth, I think I need a brick for my own head. I had a girl go out with me after work once for dinner, have some drinks, go back to my house, get too drunk to drive home, so I put her to bed in the spare room and never even attempted to kiss her. She left in the morning early and hated me after that. It was after work, so she followed me back to my house in her own car. That was the obvious hint I missed, is what I assume now. Friend was complaining he was hot because of his long sleeve shirt. I said, oh, I'm sure you'd be just as hot without a shirt. He was so unaware, but I finally just kissed him. Did something similar when it was 90 degrees out. My crush at the time said, God, I'm so freaking hot, and I relied, now you're just stating the obvious. My fiancée thinks leaving my bedroom door open when she spent the night, when we were just friends, and she lived out of town, and there was absolutely no reason for me to think anything romantic was going on, was obvious. I got up and closed the door because the AC was on and was low-key miffed. Do you know how creepy it would be if you tried to hop into bed without her asking if she wasn't into you? We were playing Don't Drink and Drive on Mario Kart, just the 2 of us. I was trashing him, so Elle gave him a chance by lying sideways across his lap for the entire race. He didn't take the hint. We started dating 2 weeks after that. He was concentrating hard to not get an erection. He forgot about you for a while. I'm a guy, but one time I was hanging with a longtime friend of mine who I used to have a crush on and who knew that I had a crush on her and had rejected me numerous times over 7-8 years in her dorm. We decided that we were both tired, but her other bed was occupied by our other friend, so I was gonna lay down on the floor. She was like, there's room in my bed for you anytime, so I hop in bed with her thinking nothing of it. The next few minutes were kind of a blur, but eventually we were literally hugging with her leg wrapped around me, and she looked me in the eyes, bit her lip and said that she was frisky. I never made a move beyond that, since she had spent the past almost decade of my life rejecting my advances. That wasn't a hint. That was plain, I want to have sex with you, but it was smart of you not to go any further with that. It would have only exacerbated your feelings and confused you even more, although I'm sure that alone confused you. It's completely fine if she doesn't want to be with you, but she shouldn't have tried to take advantage of you in that moment. When I was like 15-16, this girl from school I had a huge crush on kept inviting me to her house when she was alone, wearing the smallest tops and asking for back massages. I never got the hint. Years later, when I started going out with my now fiancé, that girl's sister tells my GF, hey, my sister had such a crush on him back in school. I was not a bright teenager. 15-16-year-old me hates 15-16-year-old you. Guy here. A girl took my hat off, started running her fingers through my hair and asked what did I do to get it so smooth. I proceeded to tell her all about the new shampoo I had switched to a month before until she cut me off. I'm sure if Emily, from 15 years ago, saw this thread, she'd say, invited this guy to my place after our date, got him into my room, into my bed. He was just lying there, so I told him my back was feeling sore and asked him if he could give me a massage. His reply, "Oh, I don't want to crush you with my weight." He was about 170 lbs. Gave up and went to sleep. Truth is, I did get the hint, but at the time I was a virgin and I was convinced I had an STD, a good combo. Turns out I didn't have an STD. Virgin with an STD. It's amazing what our teenage minds will come up with to make us even more awkward and weird. Even though I'm a guy, I have a good story about it. When I was younger, there was a girl that we were super close, BF for ages at this point. One day she was a little off, so asked her what were going on. He responds with something like, "I have something that I need to tell you, but I'm afraid what you will think about me after telling you this, and I love so much our friendship that I can't see a future without you. I really love you and don't want to ever lose you." I just translated the most important parts of the text. I still have that screenshot. My response was, "Oh, I really love you too. Can't see my future without you and we are going to be BFF." At that time, I really wanted to date her, but still didn't got it what she meant. Took me 2 days to start understanding what was happening and 3 of her friends screaming at me that she wanted to date me. This was some years ago. I was 22, had been talking to this guy for a while, and was ready to lose my virginity. I was a college student living at home, but my mom and stepdad were on vacation celebrating their anniversary, and I figured this would be the perfect time to make my move. He and I already had a date scheduled, so before we went, I cleaned my room and the entire house from top to bottom, created a chill playlist on my computer to listen to, shaved, waxed every necessary inch of my body from the forehead down, put on sexy underwear, and waited for him to pick me up. We went out to the movies, and when he dropped me off at home, I invited him in, with the added context and in a leading, flirty tone of voice, that we would be all alone and had all the time in the world to do whatever he wanted. He said, "That's alright, I'm sure you want to enjoy this time you get without your parents to be alone." He was sure, and he was wrong. I just stared at him for like 10 solid seconds in silence before I nodded, said yeah that's true, and got out of the car. The walk from my driveway to the front door was the real walk of shame, and I hadn't even gotten any good sex out of it. After that, I sat in my very clean house in my sexy underwear, eating pizza and wondering how that could have gone differently. It was my first time trying to seduce a guy into sex and it failed miserably. I laughed about it though, and I still laugh about it now. I just figured it wasn't in the cards for me yet. Ended up losing my virginity a few more years later to the guy I'm currently engaged to, so it worked out wonderfully. He is pretty good at picking up what I'm throwing down. LOL. Shaved, waxed every necessary inch of my body from the forehead down. Maybe it was the lack of eyebrows. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.